Hello action figure fans, this is HammerTron here with a new action figure review for you. This video goes up on a Wednesday, so it's Wrestling Wednesday. This time I'm reviewing the WWE Elite Collection Top Picks Drew McIntyre. This is for 2022. I bought this in 2022. I'm getting around to opening this up now, and I'm looking forward to this particular action figure. He's wearing a kilt and he has a great big sword there, so certainly looks cool. So this action figure comes in a nice window box where we can see the action figure and the accessories. There is the top, there is the bottom with some manufacturing information there. One side of the box with a picture of Drew McIntyre. Here is the other side. Here is the back with a picture of Drew McIntyre. Some biographical information there. So he's almost 6.5 feet tall, so that's very tall. And a cross sale showing the other action figures available at the time of this one. So I will open this up and review the action figure in just a moment. So Drew McIntyre with his kilt and his claymore looks like an impressive fantasy warrior and fits in well with action figures like He-Man. Although the kilt is a bit limiting because it prevents us from spreading the legs out so we can have a more dynamic action pose, but he's still impressively sized and looks cool. Here is Drew McIntyre out of the packaging with his accessories. He comes with a pair of open hands. So these look alright. They have a peg and a joint is working there and there. So these look pretty good. He comes with a sword. This is a claymore, a Scottish sword. Nicely sculpted, some nice detail, a little bit of pliability, but we don't want to bend it too much, so very nice looking sword. And here is Drew McIntyre. Let's see how tall this action figure is. According to the tape measure, about 7¼ inches tall, or about 18.5 centimeters tall. So very nicely sized action figure. And here's the action figure. The head sculpt looks alright. Looks pretty similar to the picture on the box, so I think it's alright. Long pliable hair. Well, not very pliable, so that will interfere with the articulation. He has some wrist bracers. These will come off when we remove the hands to swap the hands. He has painted details on the chest to show some hair. And a kilt. Very nicely painted kilt. So they put a lot of nice detail into that. Very impressive. It's a pliable plastic. Maybe a cloth kilt would have been better. It would not interfere with the articulation, but cloth goods would be probably much more expensive. Although this is Mattel and they already make cloth goods for their Barbie dolls. It has knee pads, thin pliable plastic over the knee joints there, sculpted boots. And if we look at the leg joint there, we can see a big gap between the ankle and the foot, and the peg goes straight down. So there's no ankle pivot because the peg goes straight down, so just a tiny little bit of jiggling, but not really an ankle pivot. And foot pegs or foot holes in or peg holes in the front of the foot there instead of the heel. So sculpted muscles back there, so it looks alright. So the kilt is a pliable plastic, pegs together, although it's a bit loose. And here is Drew McIntyre in a regular wrestling outfit. Let's take a look at the articulation here. At the head, we cannot look up and not really look down. Turn side to side just a little bit. No real head tilting. There's no butterfly joints at the shoulders, but the shoulders do go up. There we go. So this shoulder joint seems to be a bit stiff. So that's about as far as it'll go. Not too bad. And they go down, tiny little bit of ratcheting in there. They go around and around. We have bicep cuts there, so that is working. Double jointed elbows, so that is working. That is working. So these double jointed elbows, these are pinless joints. They're getting just a bit loose already, and I haven't been playing around with it very much, so it's a little disappointing. At the wrist, they turn, and there's a hinge, so that is working. We can twist it, and there's a hinge. There is a diaphragm cut, so he can crunch forward not very much and bend back a bit more. So I'm surprised they don't make these action figures to crunch forward a little bit more. There's a waist twist. Now this waist twist will work with the kilt still attached, because the kilt goes around the waist just below the waist twist. But with the kilt we could not do the splits, but without the kilt this is as far as you can go. And you can kick forward this much. That's pretty good. And not back. You can kick forward this much and not back. There is an upper thigh cut here, so that is working. And this one is working. We have double jointed knees covered by the knee pads, a little extra plastic, so that plastic will interfere with the knee joints, and I think over time the knee pads will wear out and maybe just fall off, so it's a little disappointing. It'd be nice if they just sculpted the knee pads as part of the leg, but this one also bends that much. There is a boot cut, so the boot cut is working, and that one is working. He can do the tippy toes, and the feet go forward that far, and there is no ankle pivot, which is a little disappointing. The ankle pivots would help in putting him in some more dynamic poses, but let's straighten him out here, and we can reattach the kilt. Just wrap it around and put the peg in the hole there. I should be able to do it. I've done it before. Okay, there we go. The kilt is back on, and try to lower it. There we go. And he can still do the waist twist. And let's get the sword. Let's put the sword in his hand. These are mic holding hands because these are WWE action figures, but works nicely with the sword. And with the bicep cuts, double jointed elbows, and other nice joints, he can hold the sword in two hands. Now butterfly joints would be helpful in allowing him to hold the sword a little farther forward in front of him, but this isn't too terribly bad. Let's see if we can get him to stand. And very impressive Scottish warrior. Oops. Let's try that again. There we go. Very impressive Scottish warrior. Here is Drew McIntyre next to a pair of 4-inch action figures. On the right is an adventure from an Animal Planet set I reviewed a while ago. On the left is the Fortnite Jonesy action figure by gihures. And Drew McIntyre makes a great giant for the 4-inch action figures. Here is Drew McIntyre next to a 6-inch action figure on the left, the Action Force Condor action figure by Valiverse, and a 7-inch action figure on the right, the Masters of the Universe Masterverse He-Man action figure by Mattel. And it looks like Drew McIntyre fits in very well with either scale, as a much larger person than normal for the 6-inch scale, or just a bit bigger than normal for the 7-inch scale. So he works well in either scale. This Drew McIntyre action figure from the WWE Elite Collection series by Mattel looks cool. I'm just a little worried about some of the joints being loose pretty quickly right out of the package. There are some limitations. Butterfly joints on the chest would have been nice for more poses with the sword. Also, the kilt is a pliable plastic, but not pliable enough to spread the legs for some more dynamic action poses. And the ankles don't have any pivot joints, so we can't keep his feet flat on the surface while spreading the legs out. So he's kind of limited to some poses like this, where the legs are just straight up and down. But other than that, this is a very nice looking action figure, and I think this will fit in very well with some fantasy settings with swords and magic and stuff like that. So thank you for watching my review video. Remember to like the video, leave a comment, let me know what you think of the action figure, and subscribe to my channel to keep up to date with my future reviews and commentary. I'll see you next time, action figure fans.